and we are going to discuss on the subjects of GSTR 3B, which is a new form would be filing by 20th. How that needs to be handled, we would be looking at it. At the common challenges that are there in filing input tax credit. I'm sure most of you have been noticing the assessments, audit, and the issues that have been flagged up. So we thought, what are the issues that are coming up and what are the due procedures that needs to be taken care of? Then the third aspect in the GST that would be covering today is on the transition returns. Most of us would have forgotten about it 5 years over. So a little deep inside of why transition returns, why a revision of that. So that would be first half of the session, and second half of the session would be on the Excel. Right. So my name is Venupopal, and with me I have Ashika, who is my co-speaker, and also Jagadeesh, who is another co-speaker. We are going to take you through all these aspects of GST in the first half. Feel free to put your questions in the chat box and you can raise the hand. We will unmute you. Get your questions resolved today because we are here in understanding various concepts of the GST. And out of the subject, if you have any questions, we can take it post the session. Tentatively, we will be completing at 5:30. So 1.5 hour the session on the GST and 1 hour session on the tech, depending on the time availability. When it comes to the tech session, I have my another co-speaker, Dellibabu, who would be speaking on the subject. And please note, if someone wants to work, I'll also share you some sample files. You can work along with us. Yeah, this is a knowledge session. We've been conducting this session every month since the start of GST. We also have a long-term courses, 3-day, 4-day workshops to accountants to give them hands-on training on how to file the returns. Yeah. With this, let us start the session. I would invite CA Jagadeesh, the first technical session speaker today, to handle on GSTR 3B. Welcome, Jagadeesh.
Okay. Just a second, sir. I will share my screen.
Yes.
The coverage of today's session is on changes on GSTR 3B. I will take you through the recent changes in preparation and filing of GSTR 3B and its impact, and comparing the new 3B with the old 3B. And at the end, I will take some examples and some clarifications I will give. And input tax credit and transitional credit will be taken up by my colleague Ashika ma'am, and the tech part will be taken up by Venu sir. Okay, we'll see. First, we'll see what are the changes with respect to the GSTR 3B. First, we'll discuss what are the changes with respect to the reporting of outward supplies, and then we will move on to the next part, that is the ITC part. Let's see what are the changes with respect to the reporting of outward supplies. There are no much changes. I will go by each table wise and we'll see what are the changes in each table. Let's see the first table, that is table 3.1. There is no much change in this table. Only one change in this table is that they have added these words other than those covered. They have added these words other than those covered in the table 3.1.1. We'll see what is table 3.1.1 in due course. So other than this change, there is no change in the table 3.1. We'll see what is the table 3.1.1. This is the table 3.1.1. What it is saying is details of supplies which are notified under section 9 subsection 5 are required to be reported here, not in the table 3.1. So before going on to the table 3.1.1, let's understand what is meant by what are the supplies notified under section 9 subsection 5. And what is section 9 subsection 5? Under section 9 subsection 5, the supplies, certain supplies which are notified under this section, on that liability is required to be paid by the e-commerce operator, not the actual supplier. These are all the notified supplies. First one is that transportation of passengers by radio, taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, and motorcycle, and accommodation in hotel, inns, guest house, clubs, campsites, except where the supplier is registered. The same case with the housekeeping also, except where the supplier is registered. Otherwise, the e-commerce operator is required to pay the tax. And supply of the restaurant services. In this case, if the supplier is making the supplies to the e-commerce operator, then e-commerce operator is required to pay the tax, not the actual supplier. Okay. So these people are required to report in the table 3.1.1. Let's see who is required to report in that 3.1.1 clause 1 and clause 2. If we read this clause 1, taxable supplies on which electronic commerce operator pays tax under section 9 subsection 5. This is applicable for the e-commerce operator. So table 3.1, this is for the e-commerce operator. So e-commerce operator who is paying the tax on behalf of the actual supplier are required to report in this fields. Now coming to the clause 2. If you read a clause 2, taxable supplies made by the registered person through the e-com operator on which electronic commerce operator is required to pay tax under section 9 subsection 5. In this, the actual supplier who is making the supply through the e-com operator is required to report here. So now the total turnover is splitting into the two parts. One is if the same supplier is making the supplies directly. Let's say if 80% of the supplies is making directly to the buyers, he is required to report in the table 3.1. And if he is making 20% of his supplies to the e-commerce through the e-commerce operator, then he is required to report in the table 3.1.1. So discuss this is for the e-com operator, and this is for the actual supplier who is making supplies through the e-commerce operator. Okay. Note that the supplies which are required to be reported in table 3.1.1 are not required to report in the table 3.1. You ensure this one before filing. Okay. Don't do ever duplication in reporting these supplies. Okay. This is the change with respect to the table 3.1.1. Now coming to the next table 3.2. This table is already there in the previous 3B also, but the circular raises the concern that most of the taxpayers are not filling this table at all or furnishing the wrong. All the interstate supplies are required made to unregistered person, composition taxable person, and UN holders are required to report here. What it in the circular, what is raised is many of the taxpayers are not reporting the place of supply because as we know that GST is the destination based tax. Because of not mentioning the place of supply, there is a loss for the many of the states are losing revenue because of this. Yes, place of supply is the criteria for sharing the revenue between the state and the center. So from now onwards, we need to give the bifurcation. Interstate supplies made to this 3%, unregistered person, composition, and UN holder. We need to provide the breakup along with the place of supply. Okay. These are all the changes with respect to the outward supply. There are no much changes. Only major changes for the suppliers who are making to the e-commerce operator and the e-commerce operator, actual e-commerce operators. So other than that, there are no much changes with respect to the outward supplies.
So before we move to input tax credit to the participants, any questions you have, anything you would like to ask? Okay, just to give a summary on the outward supply, the only change the department has done or the form has done is if I am a supplier and I have no liability to pay tax, and someone is having a liability to pay tax. Or if I am paying tax on behalf of someone, both that information has been brought to a different section. They've just moved to a different section, that is 311. And they have reiterated saying that the 3.2 is mandatory because the GSTN has a role. Other than accepting returns, the obligation to split the collections of the IGST between the states. So we have to report the tax liability. So that is the change. Major change is on the input tax credit. So let's move on to input tax credit.
This is the major change with respect to the GSTR 3B. As you know, for ease of explanation, I have compared both the earlier and updated GSTR 3B here. This is the 3B, earlier 3B. Okay. What 4A? 4A is my available ITC and 4B is the reversal and 4C is the net ITC. This is the ITC which will created to my e-create ledger. Okay. What let's why this change they have brought? Let's understand why this change they have brought. Many of the taxpayers, what they are doing is no one is declaring ineligible credit in the 4 days because this is just for the informational purpose. Many people, many taxpayers assume this is just for the informational purpose. There is nothing to do by disclosing the ineligible credit here. So that is why they have brought these changes, and also to have a track with the GSTR 2B. So let's see what are the changes one by one. Most of the fields in the table 4A will be auto-populated except import of services, because GSTR 3B is not intelligent enough to identify the import of service and compute the liability on the import of service. Except this, all the fields in the table 4A will be auto-populated from the table from GSTR 2B. So coming to the reversals, 4B. Under 4B1, earlier only reversal under Rule 42 and 43 is required to be disclosed here. Now, what they have changed in the circular, they have named 4B1 as a permanent reversal. What are all the credits that we cannot be re-evaluated in the future periods? That is permanent reversals that are required to be declared here. That is Rule 42, in addition to Rule 42, 43. Now they have added ineligible ITC on the section 17 subsection 5 and Rule 38. Rule 38 is for the banking companies. They are having the option to either to go with the Rule 42, 43, or they have an option to avail 50% of the credit and reverse remaining of 50%. So Rule 38 is applicable only for the banking companies. So what earlier blocked credit we used to declare it in the table 4D. 4D. Now we are required to declare it in the 4B1. And coming to the 4B2, the circular named it as an temporary reversals. Temporary reversals means what are all the reversals that I can claim it in the future period, but in the current period I am not allowed to take the credit. All such type of credits are required to report in the table 4B2. Okay, so after 4A, that's the gross ITC, and 4B, permanent reversals and temporary reversals, I will get the net ITC. This is the ITC that will get created to my e-credit ledger. Okay, let's see what is the 4D. Earlier, this is just for the informational purpose, and now also this is for the informational purpose, but there is a logic with the gross ITC. Let's see what's the logic. Now, this heading is changed to others. 4D1. What we need to declare it here? Let's read. ITC reclaim, which were reversed under table 4B2 in the earlier tax period. 4B2 means temporary reversals. Whatever the reversal that have reversed in the previous period under 4B2, that I am re-evaluating in the current period, that I need to declare it here and add that figure in the 4A file. Let's say I'm in the current period, I am reversing under temporary reversal, and in the subsequent period, I am eligible to take the credit. In that case, I will add that figure here 4A5 and declare whatever the figure I am adding it here, the same figure I need to declare it here. Okay. So logically, if I 4A5 figure as reduced by the 4D1 of that period will get matched to my GSTR to be of that period. That's the logic they have put. And coming to the table 4D2 others. Here what all the fields in this will be auto-populated. Let's see what are all needs to be declared here. Ineligible ITC under section 16 subsection 4. That is the limitation of time period. Let's say if my vendor March month invoice is uploaded in November subsequent year. In that case, I'm not allowed to take the credit under section 16 subsection 4. And that sort of credit I need to report it here. And also the ITC restricted due to the place of supply provisions. What it means is I have an inward supply invoice having the place of supply is in Tamil Nadu, but my place of business is in Karnataka. So I'm not allowed to take the credit in such type of cases. So all such type of ineligible credit is required to report it here. Anyway, all the fields in this will be auto-populated. Having different place of supply or time bar the credit will be auto-populated here from directly from 2A. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, ineligible ITC. Changes in reporting of input tax credit. So as we discussed in the earlier slide that most of the tables in the 4A auto-populated except 4A2, that is import of services. 4B1 is for permanent reversal. Permanent reversal means as we discussed 17.5 blocker credit, rule 42, 43 and rule 32, 38. All these required to be reported in the permanent reversal. And 4B2 is for temporary reversal. That is the credit which I can reclaim in the future period after fulfilling all the conditions. The type of ITC required to report it here. See, like 180 days. If I not make the payment to my vendor within 180 days from the date of invoice, I require to report it here. If I make the payment after 2 years, then I'm allowed to take the credit. So that's the temporary reversal. Now, as of now, I'm not allowed to take the credit, but in the future period, I'm allowed to take the credit. Such type of credit, I'm required to report it here. Also, goods not received cases, section 16, subsection 2 case, goods in transit. I have received the invoice and in ITC, they're reflecting in 2B, but I'm not allowed to take the credit. Condition is not being met. Also, tax not paid, and my supplier has not paid the tax or not filed his return. In such cases, I am not allowed to take the credit. So all these type of credit, I can re-eval in the future period once all these conditions have been met. So temporary reversal, I need to declare it in the 4B2, and a permanent reversal, I require to report in the 4B1. So 4C, that's the net ITC. Net ITC means 4A, gross ITC as reduced by the permanent reversal and a temporary reversal. That is the credit which will get credited to my electronic credit ledger. Table 41. 41 is whatever the credit I have reversed in the previous period under 4B2. Credit reversed earlier and reclaimed now. That's the credit I required to report it in the table 41. The same figure I will add to the table 4A5. So coming to the table 4D2. This is the ineligible ITC under section 16 subsection 4. That is the ITC, ineligible ITC due to the limitation of the time period as mentioned in section 16 subsection 4. And having different POS. This already we discussed. Anyway, the figure which is auto-populating in the 4D2 will not be part of the 4A5 figure. So this will not reduce my ITC entitlement. In the 4A5, this figure will not be there. So anyway, all the figures in the 4D is for informational purpose. So there will be they will not reduce the ITC entitlement. Moving on to the, let's see the data flow, how data is flowing from 2B to GSTR 3B. So if my ITC in 2B, if invoice, let's say, let's take an invoice. If my ITC in the 2B is marked as eligible, then it will directly flow to my 4A5 in the GSTR 3B. If my ITC in GSTR 2B is marked ineligible, it will directly go to the table 4D2. That is ineligible ITC. So these cases we already discussed, having different phase of supply and limitation of time period under section 16 subsection 4. If my ITC is eligible, if I fulfill all the conditions, I am eligible to take the credit in that period, then I will not alter the auto-populated figure in the table 4A5. If I not fulfill any of the conditions, and in that cases, I will not disturb my auto-populated figure, but I will reverse the trade under temporary reversal, because in future I may fulfill. When I fulfill all the conditions, then I will take nothing but the temporary reversal. So if my ITC is ineligible under section 17.5 or 42.43, so again, I will not disturb my 4A5 auto-populated figure, but that is ineligible ITC is the permanent reversal. In the future period, I am not eligible to take the credit. So I will reverse it in the 4B1. Okay. That's the data flow.
Previous slide, Jagadeesh.
Yes.
This being important, I would like to reiterate the understanding to the users once. Friends, all this while claiming input tax credit, the reversal of the credit was like seldom done. People were taking the net input tax credit, they were eligible, they were reporting in 4A5 directly. Whatever the credit I want to take, I will put it in 4A5. Even credit notes also net of we were reporting. If something was not eligible, I was not reporting in 4A5. So now the government wants to have a detailed understanding under 4A5. What was happening in the audits and assessments? 17-18, GST audits happening, input tax credit reconciliation is being called for. And most common point that comes was 2A versus 3B. And the department used to give a notice, the amount claimed in 3B is 100, the amount appearing in 2A is 80, the differential 20, you have a liability to pay taxes. However, this 2A which was there, it has ineligible credits, it has credits pertaining to rule 42-43, which is common credit. It also has erroneous credit, some supplier has reported in your name which doesn't belongs to you. Now, it was becoming kind of difficult to the department to nail down those, to ease their job, to ensure getting 100% matching and reconciliation. They have now said that if an item which is appearing in GSTR 2A, please take the credit and report it to me. Please take the credit and report it to me. So that is where you are seeing the starting point. If the ITC is eligible, marked as eligible. Now, when you are saying marked as eligible in 2B, doesn't mean that it is really eligible. As per the portal, what is not eligible is when you are making a claim after the due date, that is September 16, subsection 4, or if the place of supply doesn't belongs to your state, in these two situations, you are not eligible to credit. So systems definitely know that. Leaving that, system cannot know whether it is a motor vehicle purchase credit or it is a food bill, whatever it is, it cannot know. Because in GSTR1, I don't do a HSN wise reporting. Hence, every credit as per the system is an eligible credit. You are supposed to bifurcate whether the eligible or ineligible in your own hands. You got to bifurcate your credits as eligible or ineligible in your own hands. Hypothetically, all the credits appearing in your 2A or 2B, ideally now 2B, is reported to your 4A file. The credits, and please make notes. In fact, I would suggest as you are watching, of course, this presentation would be shared, but as you are watching, if you have some notes to make, please make notes of it. All that I'm trying to say is if there is a credit in 2B, it would be moving to your 4A file. It would be automatically reported to 4A file. After getting reported to 4A file, if you have nothing to reverse, it itself will become eligible credit, net credit in 4C. But for some reason you have to reverse, you will be reporting the reversal in 4B. 4B is your reversals. Now 4B has two sections. Section 1, which is permanent reversal. You are reversing this credit and you are not going to reclaim it. You are reversing this credit and you are not going to reclaim it. Such credits would be reported in 4B1. What are the credits I will not reclaim it? Banking company, rule 38. It is like I have credit 50% only, I can take 50%, I cannot take. So 100 rupees would be coming to 4FI, 50 rupees goes to 4B1 and 40 comes net. Or I have some exempted supply, there is a common credit owing to rule 42, 43, I'm going to reverse. Or I have a blocked credits. I have purchased the credits for business, but they have been blocked under 17 section 5. Or I have some goods lost, stolen, or something not for business, whatever be the reason, if you are not going to take the credit, including credit notes, such reversals will be reported in 4B1. That we call it as non-reclaimable reversals. In other words, permanent reversals, non-reclaimable or permanent reversals. Now, what could be a reclaimable credit? The reclaimable credit could be again many things. You are reversing owing to the second proviso of 16 subsection 2, you have not paid to the vendor within 180 days. Again, rule 37, where you have not paid within 180 days. You reverse now, pay it later. This is again common issue that's coming in the audits. Next, it is appearing in your GSTR 2B. However, you have not received the goods or services, or it is the supplier is selling in lots, you did not get the last installment. Credit is appearing, you don't know whether it belongs to you, does not belong to you, because you have no information. Like I'm an accountant, I'm filing my GST returns. I don't know that bill is not with me. Entry is not visible in my books of accounts. What do? I don't know anything now. Park it to take it to at a later point. So where do I park? 4B2, right? So you are parking credits which you want to reclaim at a later point in time. And what is the net credit that you are going to take is 4C. And the net credit that you are going to avail is 4C. So that is why the down orange color you are seeing in 3 sections, credit appearing in the same month and you are availing in the same month is 4A5. Credit appearing in the same month, but you will avail at a later point, it is 4A5 and 4B2. Credit appearing in the same month and you are not going to avail it at all, it is 4A5 and 4B1. So credit, whether you are availing, whether you are not availing, the common thing you can see is 4A5. It will be in your 4A5 whether you are availing the credit or not availing the credit. And when you are not availing the credit, you will choose whether you are going to avail it at a later point or you will never avail it. If you think you will never avail the credit, then you will report in 4B1. What you can see as an into mark stating ineligible owing to rule 38, 42, 43, 75, whatever be the reason, you are not going to take the credit of it. That goes to your 4B1. But you have some suspects, some doubt, you want to reclaim at a later point in time, that you would be reporting in your 4B2. Any questions to anyone at this point? I see one question by Rajesh. He's saying, in fact, you can unmute yourself and also ask, goods returned to the supplier after 2 years of the purchase, credit note not uploaded on the GST portal by the supplier, how purchaser will report these transactions in GSTR 3B? Rajesh, the supplier has uploaded the credit note in GSTR1, but you have not made the payment to the vendor because you are returning the goods. You are anyhow not eligible for these credits, and you are returning the goods now. This is as equivalent of as a credit note. Earlier, when you availed, you have availed in 4A5. Now you are reversing it, and these reversals you will not reclaim those credits. So when you are reversing it, you will be reporting under 4B1.
Sir,
You have raised the hand for long. Yeah, yes, sir. We'll first take it. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Sir, the thing is that we have certain ITCs which we had considered in the month of June, July, or April as block credit under 17.5. But
Right.
now we are getting to know that they are not blocked. We are eligible to take, and all the conditions of Section 16 are fulfilled. So
Right.
can that be taken under 4D? Is it possible as of now?
Yeah. So how do I address the transition credit? I have a slide. I'll explain at that point.
Okay. And sir, in just continuation to that, there are cases when we deal with our clients, many of the clients don't know what is the nature. For example, if there is like 1,000 line item to be, so they don't know exactly what it is. So what we do is temporarily we will park it under a temporary reversal like 4B2. Okay. And
4B,
yeah.
because 4B is a reversal, which include temporary and permanent. 4B1 is permanent, 4B2 is temporary. Why am I emphasizing this? Let me again point it out. Okay. At the cost of repetition, why I am saying it? The more the room for the data entry in any given form, we will make the errors. And the ability to make errors comes from your ability to make knowledge or ignorance. There are 1.4 crore registered SSCs. There is no officer 1:1, 1:10 to match each SSC. All the notices today you are getting are all system driven. If the system finds it anomaly, you will get the notice. In fact, the DGRM, the analytics risk wing of the department, has identified issues on 90 lakh SSC's GST returns. Imagine out of 1.4 crores, 90 lakh returns have some of the other mistakes, and they have shared the information to various commissioners asking that to take an action. So the notice which you are going to get today is system driven. And for system, it has no emotions. It only looks for A plus B is equal to C. If that is the formula, it will only check for that. So when you are reversing a credit between 4B1 and 4B2, you have to choose wisely. If you are reporting by mistake, instead of reporting under 4B2, you are reporting under 4B1. And tomorrow you want to reclaim it, and there is no entry you made for a reclaim, you will be getting a notice saying that you are availing a credit which you have not even reversed to re-avail. So that is why I am saying that let us start using a very specific. If you are reversing, let us say whether 4B2, which is a temporary or reclaimable, 4B1, which is permanent or non-reclaimable. Yes,
Okay.
continue.
So see, what happens is when we just go and ask our client, what is this to be, which is appearing, which is not there in BOA anywhere, they have no clue. Okay. So what we do is we will reverse it under 4B2 as temporary. Okay. And then at a later date, we get to know, okay, it was a blocked one, or it was rule 32, rule 42, 43, whatever. Then is there a provision that we can then go take it to permanent, and how do we go about it?
Got it.
Because, yeah.
I got a question. So I have now made a mistake in reporting between 4B1 and 4B2. Is there a recourse to it? Now, again, I'm not sure how many of you have read the proposed GSTR 3B. The proposed GSTR 3B has a little more detailed explanation of the table 4, where they have given an option of kind of revising the 3B. In the current situation which Preetham has asked me, where the credit was a permanent reversal, but I have by mistake reported under temporary reversal. Can I do something on it? You don't need to do anything, Preetham, because you have anyhow reversed it. So the net eligible credit has not moved to your electronic credit ledger. You can be assured that, okay, what you did is kind of a safe thing. Now you may ask, so to be on the safer side, can I put 4B1 0 and start putting 4B2 only? My answer would be again no. To the extent possible, you got to do your detailing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Santosh. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. I saw Mr. Mehul Mehta or someone. Yeah, Mithul Mehta.
Yeah.
Question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Mithul.
I got my answer during your earlier session, answer. But still, in case of 40 to 43 reversals, the company is providing exempted supplies. Many times earlier we used to put it under others, and we used to keep it open for re-availing in case if the goods are being traded later on. But what if from now onwards we'll put everything under temporary reversals, and later on at the time of September we'll actually put the real figures over 4B1. So in that case, would there be any interest repercussions?
See, as long as you are reversing it, okay, there is no question of double reversal. You have temporarily reversed under 4B2. Then after some time you are re-availing and putting it back into 4B1. You don't need to do such kind of dual reversals wherever you have done a computation of rule 42, 43. Now, in fact, at the start of the question, I have seen someone was asking, see, I was supposed to reverse 1 lakh in rule 42, 43. Yeah. I have, let's say, 1,20,000. Month on month, reversal it was 1,20,000. 20,000 I have excess reversed. Where can I re-avail that? Today's GSTR 3B is not a fully carved out form handling all the situations. Okay. Given that there is no circular, given that there is no guidance on this aspect, I would request that we should do at the best possible way what is the right way to do it. And the rule 42 permits you to re-avail the credit which you have excess reversed. So you will be re-availing the excess reversed credit back in 4A5 only to the differential. So I will not suggest the people to park everything to 4B2, take it to 4A5 and putting it to 4B1 is not at best.
Okay, got your point. Thank you.
Ineligible, can we put it under 16 subsection 4 vehicle maintenance insurance? I didn't get your question. 16 subsection 4 is where you are availing the credit at a later point in. Nanjunda sir, maybe you have to rephrase your question.
Venu sir, nothing actually. Now we are like example, we are getting the vehicle insurance or vehicle maintenance, everything. That is ineligible, no?
Correct.
That we can put it to there.
Yeah, that is ineligible. That is a permanent reversal. You will-
अविनाश ने क्लियर
This is a permanent reversal, correct.
बोलो नंबर बोलो आपका
Yeah.
Correct, no, sir?
Yes, correct.
We can put it to the permanent ineligible.
Correct.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you, sir.
So can I ask in the middle?
Yes, Mithulji.
Yeah. If by mistake I report it under 4B1,
Right.
it is a genuine mistake.
Hmm.
So what can be the course of action to be taken?
Yeah, so again, I will at the end, I will, given that you have asked now, there are chances that the data entry errors can happen. Instead of reporting under 4B2, I have now reported under 4B1. When you are re-availing it, the re-availment has to be done through 4D1 reporting. You will report under 4D1. You will definitely be subjected to a notice asking that you have not earlier marked under temporary reversals. How are you claiming it? But whenever you are reclaiming a reversed amount, please make sure you report it under 4D1. At least to that extent, you can be saved by the notice.
Okay.
Please continue with this. Next slide.
Yes. These are the control checkpoints. If credit deferred to future period, reporting methodology as follows. I reversed the credit in the previous period under 4B2, and in the current period, I am re-evaluating it. What is the methodology in that case? So I will add that figure, what I have reversed under 4B2 in the previous period to 4A5 and report that in the 4D1. 4A5 plus 4B2, which I reversed in the previous period. Same figure, I am disclosing it in the 4D1. Okay. So this is control checkpoints. Okay. Cumulative temporary reversals should always be greater than or equivalent to the cumulative 4D1. That is re-avail credit. So many participants have asked that if I reversed it in the permanent reversals and if I re-avail in the 4A5 again and disclosing it to 4D1, this will not match. So this is the control checkpoint is with the department. Department may issue notice for this. Your boss see your temporary reversals is less than the re-avail credit. You have availed the excess credit, like that department may issue the notice for this. For that you have to, this is the litigative issue. For that you have to give the reason. By mistake I have disclosed it in the permanent reversal, but that is not a permanent reversal. Like that we have to give the reply for that. And auto-populated 4A5, auto-populated in 2B is equivalent to the 4A5 for that period as reduced by the 4D1 previous year credit availed in the current period. So that's some control checkpoints. So total credit in the 2B is equal to the 4A5 plus 4D2. 4A5 is auto-populated from 2B and 4D2 is the ineligible ITC. Ineligible ITC means only that having different place of supply and limitation of ITC under section 16 subsection 4 time or trade. So these are all some control checkpoints you have to see, have to check. Okay. So handling of the temporary credits situation. Let's say my ITC is reflecting in the 2B, but I have not accounted in my books because there may be the various reasons. One may be invoice, I have not received my invoice, or I have received material, but quality control check has not completed. So in that case, I will not enter into my GRN register. In that case, also credit will not be reflected in my books. Let's see in that case what we have to do. So reporting in table 4, which is available in 2B. 2B it is reflecting, but in my books it is not reflecting. In that case, what I will do, I will don't disturb the auto-populated figure in 4A5 and reverse it in the temporary reversal 4B2. So in the next month, I will receive the goods. In that case, I am eligible to take the credit. In the subsequent month, what I will do, I will add the that figure which I have reversed in the previous month to the 4A5 and report that figure in the 4D1. What I have reversed in the previous period under 4B2. This is the thing we have to do in the period in which I am reclaiming the credit. Okay. So this is the example what I have discussed in the previous slide. So in the month 1, credit is reflecting into B, but I don't have any credit in my books. And in the subsequent month, I have credit in my books, but ITC is not reflecting into B. That ITC is reflecting in the previous period, not in the reporting period. Okay. So in the first month, what I will do, I will not alter the figure reflecting in the 4A5, but I will reverse under temporary reversal 4B2. Okay. In the subsequent month, what I will do, I will add the figure what I have reversed in the previous period under 4B2 temporary reversal. I will add to the 4A5 of the current period, and I will declare that figure in the table 4D1. The table 4D1 I will declare. Okay.
So just previous slide. So just to sum up, what you are taking credit and what is there in the books should match. It's just the timing difference.
Timing.
There is a jugglery. You may see your 4A5 has come 150, total 300. But if you see what is important is 4C, net ITC. That is what is important. Make sure your net ITC is what you are availing, is what it is eligible for. This question.
So this is example as I discussed earlier that most of the tables in the 4E table 4 are 4A are auto populated. So I'm having 1 lakh of ITC on imports and 50,000 on import of services, and ITC on RCM 25,000. This is auto populated, and ISD from ISD I'm having 50,000, and all other ITC I'm having 2 lakh, 1 lakh 50, 1 lakh 50. That's it. Okay. This is the various facts. So I'm having 50,000 of IGST, which is blocker trade, where I have to disclose this
One
figure.
moment, just a moment. Previous slide.
Okay.
So the previous slide, this is the statement of facts. Hypothetical numbers. A data is appearing in your GSTR 2B auto-populated 3B values are this. Now, what we are going to discuss is, I am not going to correct my 4A5. The corrections will be in 4B or 4D. So right now, what you are seeing in your 4A5 is 2 lakh IGST, 1 lakh 50 CGST, 1 lakh 50 SGST. Total 5 lakhs you are seeing. 2 plus 3, 5 lakhs you are seeing under your 4A5. Various scenarios is what we are going to see. Next slide. If the scenario 1 is your 4A5 has a value of some items which you have purchased, which is barred under 17 subsection 5. You have purchased some items which have been barred under 17 subsection 5. So what will you do? So this credit will continue to be in 4A5. Earlier we were reporting under 4D. Now it will continue to be under 4A5. You will report this under 4B1, permanent reversal. So this 50,000 will be a permanent reversal now, which was earlier not there. Now you will be reversing this as a permanent. Next, in terms of rule 42, 43, say CGST and IGST, some reversal you have to do. So some 75,000 IGST and CGST, SGST, some 52,000. Again, this reversal, you will again reverse it. 72 plus 52 plus 52, right? So this you will be reporting under 4B1. So 75,000 plus 50,000. So 1,25,500 in 4B1, 52,000 4B1 CGST, 52,000 4B1 SGST. Then third example which Jagadeesh has given is, you have purchased, invoice has come, it is auto-populated. It's just that you have not received the goods yet for 10,000 rupees. Since goods did not come, you are not eligible to take in this current month. So what you will do is you will do as a reversal, but not in 4B1, you will do a reversal under 4B2. So 10,000 IGST will be under 4B2. Next situation, you have not paid the supplier within 180 days, rule 37 and 16 subsection 2 second proviso, you will have to reverse this. Reversal where 4B2, because you will re-avail at a later point in time. Since you will be re-availing at a later point in time, you will be reporting 500 under 4B2. The last situation is you have around a 10,000 worth credit in your CGST. Owing to various reasons, the supplier has filed it late, 16 subsection 4 credit. So anything relating to 16 subsection 4, this would be reported back in your 4D2, and system will take care of it. You don't need to do. Let's look at the answers. Hope my answers are correct.
4B1. This is for permanent reversal, right? So rule 42-43. I'm having 75 for IGST and 52,000 CGST SCST reversal. So this is the permanent reversal. So I need to reverse it under type 4B1. And also blocked trade. This is also the permanent reversal. So 75 and 50, 1.25, 52, 52. I'm declaring it in the permanent reversal. Now coming to the table 4B2, which is for temporary reversal. Goods not received cases. Goods not received cases. In that case, I have not received the goods, but ITC is reflecting in the 2B. And also I have not made the payment within 180 days to my vendor from the date of invoice. So in these two cases, I may have in the future period, I will claim the credit, but as of now, I'm not entitled to take the ITC. So I will report it in the temporary reversal 4/2. This is the 4C. Gross ITC as reduced by the temporary and permanent and temporary reversal is my net ITC. If we see import of goods, import of services, ISD on ITC on RCM, from ITC on ISD, and A5 is all other ITC, which is reduced by permanent and temporary reversal. That is my net ITC, which will get credited to my electronic credit ledger. Okay. 41, as I discussed earlier, 41, here we have to report the reclaimable ITC. What we have reclaimed in the current period, which is reversed in the previous period under 4B2. Here we are coming to the table 4D2. Here we will report the ineligible ITC. Anyway, all the fields in the 4D2 will be auto-populated from the 2B, because 3B can identify the ineligible under section 16 subsection 4, and having the invoice having the different place of supply provisions. Okay. Here we will report that 10,000 and 10,000 ITC. Okay. So let's see the issues and reporting in new GSTR transaction credit. So past credits, let's say April, May, June, July credits, all those credits where we will report now. Okay. Now I want to avail. In the previous period, I have not availed. So in the current period, what I will do, I will add to the 4A5 auto-populated figure and will disclose it in the 4D1. Okay. Credit excess avail, excess credit avail. So what I will do, I will reverse it in the permanent reversals 4B1. So bookkeeping errors, this is already discussed, and reversal or amendment. This is the important one. Credit note for credit not avail. What it means is, I have not availed credit on the main original invoice, but supplier has uploaded the credit note for that invoice on which I have not availed the credit. So what 4A5 will be net off of that credit note. So we have to be more cautious with respect to the credit note. So we have to add back that reduced credit to the 4A5 figure. Okay. So we have to be more cautious on these credit notes and credit in books, but not in GSTR 2B. I'm having the credit in my books, but my vendor has not uploaded invoice. What we'll do? We'll follow up with vendor and ask him to upload the invoice. But then we have nothing to do within GSTR 3B. So that's all about the changes with respect to the 3B preparation and filing. So if you have any doubts, can ask me. Or else I will take a done.
No, we can take the questions now. So
Okay,
that,
sir.
One
Yeah.
minute. Hello.
yes,
sir.
please go ahead. Please tell me.
Sir, these changes are starting from the August 22, correct, sir?
These changes are the August return filed now. So
Okay.
yeah.
So there are some ITCs which are already received in the earlier period, but that accounting entries we have taken in the current August month.
No
So,
problem.
sir,
These are the transition credit. That's what was the first one. Past credits not availed to be availed now. So the current month report to them under 4D1 because you have never availed it and you are now availing it. Report it under 4D1 and report it under 4A5 so that you have a track. The opening, the first month of your this return, the new return. So you are reporting that these are your past credits that you are availing.
okay, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Santosh.
Sir, now the 2B will be auto-populated and we should not make any changes in respect of imports, RCM credit and any other ITC. So any
No.
adjustment has to be
No,
done in
no, no,
4B1
no,
and
no,
4B2.
no. No. Rule 36 sub rule 4 talks only about your 4A5. If you have made an import, in fact, there was a question if you have made an import of goods and for some reasons it is not auto populated, don't worry, you can continue to take the credit of it. Even though auto populated numbers are wrong, you can edit that. 4A5 is what we are discussing, and that is the change that has happened.
So then we should, so whatever has been reflected in 4A5, we should not make any changes. Rather, any adjustment has to be done in 4B1 and 4B2.
No. 4B1 is for import of goods.
Okay.
Respective credit should be in the respective heads. For example, 4A5 is auto populated. Can you just go to the earlier slide? One more. Yeah. So no. Hold on. Yeah. So previous slide, please. Yeah. So now, sir, if you look at this example, 2B for the month in month 2 is 0. 4A5 in month 2 is auto populated value is 0. But I have added manually 150 and I am reporting it because I am equivalently reporting value in 4D1. So if you are changing an auto populated figure, you need to have a reason why you are changing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Good. Yeah, then I can see Spencon Corporation. Yes, sir. You can unmute yourself. Karthikeya, you can unmute. Raghavendra, sir. You have a question.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So regarding RCM credit is concerned, it is a auto-populated number is given. So can we change that RCM actual amount what we paid?
Generally, auto-populated amount will be lower. Your RCM liability has to be substantially higher because auto-populated is only for registered purchases. Your RCM will be unregistered purchase and import of services. So you can change the auto-populated.
Sir, in continuation to that, whatever the rent-a-cab cases and 17 of 5 ineligibility that had to be shown in 4B1, correct, na?
Correct, absolutely.
Okay. And in continuation to that, August 22 prior invoices which had taken here in this month, so that had to be shown under 4D1, correct?
And 4A5.
Yes, 4A5 will be there. And subject in last question, sir. Last question. So this credit note parts, like whatever the credit note we have, so that is to be shown under where, sir? Actually, in 17 of 5, 4B1 we have to show or 4B2.
Credit note is a reversal.
Yes, sir.
Reduction in your input tax credit.
Because my only worry was that if you look at that 4B1, it is only talking about Rule 38, 42, 43, and Section 17 of 5. But
There are examples, sir. I would say that it is an example. The way I would say you should read it, they are non-reclaimable credits. Credit notice, you are reducing your credit, so it has to be in your 4B1.
that's what, sir. Like in the circular number 170, they have clarified in the last point, no? Like 4.4, it is clarified that reversal of ITC of ineligible credit under Section 17 of 5 or any other provision of the CGST Act can be fit into that definition. We can show it over there, sir.
Absolutely, that is what I'm saying. Circular has given some examples. You will have to go by the principles, as credit note is a non-reclaimable, hence it comes to 4B1.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Sir, another one small thing, just to reiterate.
Yes.
Yeah, sir, it was, as what I understand, the credit notes, what we will reverse in 4B1. Okay. For that, we have to first add to that extent of credit note in 4A5 and then subsequently reverse. Correct, sir?
Generally,
Generally,
the credit note which has come should have been purchased earlier. So it was already there in your 4A5 at any earlier point in time.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In case of the same month, if they are given, there might be chances. So we have to add in.
It will automatically, you don't need to add, it is already there in your 4A5.
Okay. Either ways, it will be there. So
Correct.
that is what. Correct. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Spencon Corporation, you have unmuted yourself. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah. Credit is appearing in 2B for the month of August, but I have received the material on 5th of September. Can I take the credit?
You should, and you should reverse, and you should reclaim. In fact, someone asked a question, I have put it in the chat that like, in how do you report it? So you should take the credit now, reverse the credit in next month, in this month, again re-avail it in the next month.
Okay, because its material is not received as on 31st of August. I'm
That
not
is why you
supposed
are
to.
reversing it.
Okay, I have to reverse it.
Reverse under 4B2. So you will not disturb the auto-populated 4A5.
Okay, what if I avail it if I don't reverse it? If it means to availing the credit, isn't it?
No, sir. 4C is the circular also clarified. 4C is what you are availing the credit.
Okay.
The 4C is the net input tax credit that you have availed. That is the credit that you have availed. Reporting in 4A5 doesn't mean that you have availed the credit.
Okay, fine. Right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Can we move any other question?
So, can you please
Yes, Mithunji.
give an example with amounts regarding the credit notes on which credit was not reversed earlier? Like, so credit notes are appearing in.
Yeah, so this could be a situation where, like what you are seeing on the screen, on account of Rule 4243, I have reversed some credit. Okay, 75,000 IGST, 52 CGST, SGST. So I have not even taken the credit. And this credit has been reversed permanently. So I have already put this under non-reclaimable credit. And I am repeating it many times because I want everyone to be clear between 4B1 and 4B2. So I have reported under non-reclaimable credit. Now, for such purchase, I have returned the goods for some reason. So the supplier has issued a credit note. Such credit note system will auto-populate to 4B1. Since you have already reversed the credit, you did not re-avail the credit, you got to take a care in not reversing double time. You should reverse the credits only those which you have taken the credit. If you have not taken the credit, there is no concept of reversal.
Understood.
Any other questions? All right. So let's move to the next part. I invite Ashika to take the session on input tax credit.
So input tax credit, we won't be going in that. We will keep it limited to the GSTR 3B. Now, as you all know, these are the condition which is given for claiming the ITC. Now, the first part is possession of tax invoice. Obviously, you should have the document in order to avail the ITC. Now, if you don't have the documents and the transaction is reflecting in GSTR 2B, the thing is that it will be shown in 4A5, but as the document is not there, so you won't be eligible to claim ITC of it because one of the condition not satisfied. Therefore, same will be reported under 4B2, that is a temporary reversal. And the next month, when you have received your invoice, then you will add it in 4A5 and 4D1 to show that that is a last month ITC, avail in this month ITC, as all the condition of section 16 has been complied with. Now, another is credit reversal in GSTR 2B. That is one of the major because of which GSTR 3B reporting has been changed, and it has been done to make them reconcile with 2B. So as my friend Jagadeesh has showed you earlier, how the 2B data transaction will be flow in GSTR 3B. So one of the most important condition is that transaction should be reflecting in 2B in order to avail it. People were asking that receipt of goods or service where you haven't received the goods, but you have the invoices, other payment also you've done. It may be a case of lot also. It may be the goods in transit, but transaction is reflecting in 2B. Like I explained for the serial number 1, possession of tax invoice, in a similar circumstance, again, it will be showing in 4A5, but you have to report it in 4B2 as a temporary reversal. And in next month, when the goods is received, you will add it to 4A5 and 4D1. Credit is not restricted under section 38. 38 again deals with your GSTR 1 and GSTR 2B. That also need to be fulfilled. Tax levied on actually paid to the government. If you will see now the GSTR 2A, which is getting auto-populated, and you will also find 3B filing status. So you can come to know whether your supplier has filed their GSTR 3B or not. You will not come to know whether they have short declare or excess declare. But if your supplier it is showing 3B, let us assume that he has paid the tax, you claim the ITC, but where 3B filing status is showing no, follow up with your party. The 3B filing status is showing no, ask them to file it. Meanwhile, how you will report in GSTR 3B, same pattern. You will show it as a temporary reversal in 4B2, and when your party file, you can claim it. Filing of return, obviously you have to file your within due dates in order to claim your ITC. Plus, there is a time limit for availment of ITC. So you have to make sure that transaction on which you are availing the ITC are within those time limit. Payment to vendor within 180 days. Now, this, as you know, that one of the another condition to avail is the ITC, that you make your payment to your party within 180 days. Now, suppose there may be a situation you haven't made your payment within 180 days. Then in such circumstance, it will be like in the nature of reclaim of ITC, which is covered specifically under 4B2. So over there, you will show temporary reversal. And when you make the payment of the party, you will be eligible for the same, and you will add it in 4A5 and in 4D1. Section 16.4, one of the person was asking about 16.4 and ineligible ITC reporting. For that, 16.4 deals with time availment. For the current year, 22-23, my time availment for availing of the invoices which are dated in 22-23 is till September due date. So it's 20th October. Though by notification, they have given amendment in the act whereby they have said that they will extend it till November, but still that provision has not been notified. So it is still 20th October. So if I talk about 21-22, my last date for availment is 20th October. By 20th October, you have to avail the ITC which you have missed out for 21-22. So it's important for you, as September is the month going on, you do your 2A reconciliation. I'm saying 2A, not 2B, because 2A is on date of invoice and 2B is on filing period. So when we do yearly computation, yearly reconciliation, it better we do with 2A because it get better picture of what transaction left out or what is not missed. So we will do our 2A reconciliation, look into it, what are the transactions which is appearing only in portal, only in books, and take necessary action so that your future IETC litigation you can avoid, or disallowance of IETC you can avoid, because non-reflection in 2B will result into IETC disallowance because number of notices, like sir said, it is a system driven. So numbers of notices has been issued for the period 17-18 till date on the basis of disallowing ITC only because transactions are not showing in 2A. So they are basically not giving transaction wise, they are just giving the summary, monthly 2A, monthly 3B. You are liable to this ITC should be disallowed. Now you keep on fighting, you keep on explaining them what's the situation is. So, but if any ITC of 21-22, which you have missed out, you have a time till September to avail it, provided keep in mind that conditions which is specified in section 16 has been fulfilled. Now, if I input tax credit availment is basically dependent on the fact that it has been used for business. So if you are using it for a business, which is a taxable supply, you are 100% eligible for ITC. Zero rated supply means export of goods or service outside India or SEZ unit, supply to SEZ unit. So in that cases, you are eligible for 100% ITC. There is no disallowance. However, if that input credit or that service or goods have been procured for non-taxable, no GST, exempt, no GST, nil rated, no GST, because you are not paying any tax. Accordingly, ITC will not be eligible for same. Further, if you are into both taxable and exempt, and you have input service or goods which is commonly used, like stationery, like security service, we can't divide it into how much has been used for taxable, how much used for exempt. In that case, provision rule 42-43, for which Sir and Jagadeesh has already discussed, which need to be reported in 4B1 as a permanent reversal. So common ITC you have to calculate, and accordingly, whatever reversal comes, you have to report in 4B1. Block credit. 17.5 deals with the block credit, which is a permanent reversal. Therefore, it's a 4B1 item. 4B1 is permanent, 4B2 is temporary. So all the ineligible ITC of 17.5, either it's vehicle insurance, vehicle maintenance, food, beverages, which is specifically covered under 17.5, need to be reported under 4B1. This 4B1, 4B2, you have to do. That 2B is not doing any auto population on the same, because that 2B is not able to identify which is covered under block credit, which is your temporary reversal, that we have to do manually. Only up to the first part, 4A1, import of goods, inward 4B3, inward supply under RCM. That will also not be proper inward supply under RCM, because if your supplier is registered, who is providing you a service or a goods which is covered under RCM, then only it will be reported. But if your supplier is unregistered, then though you are liable to pay under RCM, it will not be reflecting in 4B3. But 4B3 will be dependent upon that you avail the ITC, means you should be eligible for availing ITC. Now, if it's a rent-a-cap transaction is there, obviously you will be paying tax, but ITC will not be eligible on the same. So you can add it in a 4A3 and then do 4B1 permanent reversal. Now, points to be in ITC is like there is no one-to-one correlation. It's not that I have to prove that this material came for this purpose. So if you are having multiple services, I don't need to prove that this is for renting, this is for security. There's no one-to-one correlation. Whatever ITC avail, even for you are having one GSTN for multiple business vertical, you will be eligible. You don't need to prove that. Another thing, receiving of goods. Now, one of the condition of 16 is that you should receive the goods or service in order to avail the ITC. But that is not mandatory in all the conditions, like bill to ship to model, where ITC is allowed even though goods is not received. actual use is not necessary. When we say actual use is not necessary, is that I don't need to put it that it's directly linked to business. Like earlier in pre-GST regime, like how the SANVAT credit was determined, it says that it should be used in the manufacturing, it should be used in providing output service. So there was a correlation where you need to prove that it actually been in the process of manufacturing, in providing the service. That all conditions are not there. The only thing is that it should be used for the purpose of business. So direct connection is not there. So these are the things which you have to keep in mind while availing the ITC, so that you does not disallow the ITC which you are actually eligible for it. One of the important thing is, we think if we record in books of account, we have availed this ITC. This is not the actual case. Availment of ITC is what you reflect or show in GSTR 3B. Even if you record in books of account, but you are not claiming in 3B, it will be regarded as ITC, not claim. Because as per GST and how the GST is Act says is that what you avail in 3B, that is what they are considering as input tax credit avail, not what you are recording in books of account. Now, like people are asking about the credit note and all. Some people in the past period have shown net ITC, means whatever the ITC was there, less the credit note. Suppose 5 lakh is my ITC. I have a credit note of 1 lakh. 4 lakh is my net ITC. So people were reporting 4 lakh directly to the 3B. Now department does not consider them. They want us to report 5 lakh in 4A5 and 1 lakh credit note in 4B1 as a permanent reversal, to prove that the credit note which is reflecting in GSTR 2A is actually being reversed. So you need to be very much careful how you are reporting in GSTR 3B. And reverse charge mechanism is like RCM liability, unlike pre-GST regime, where we pay in April month, but we avail in May. That is not the situation now. You can pay in April and avail in April. Now, reverse charge mechanism, this also we will keep it limited to our 3B reporting. We have basically given a screenshot or synopsis of what are the services covered under RCM. And in this, we will just do on whatever the recent changes that has came. GTA. Now, if you know.
So here, one moment. So here, what you are seeing in blue color highlighted one are kind of an important items in the reverse charge, which most or almost all businesses will have as the expenditure. So that is why it is highlighted. It doesn't mean that the rest are not applicable, but applicable only few cases. So let us see what are the issues that are there in the reverse charge. Yes, Ashika.
So first starting with GTA. So the highlighted ones are the common one, but in that also we will deal with specific for which recent changes now in 22-23 or recent circular clarification they have brought up. First GTA, transport of goods, 2 rate, 12%, 5%, 12 forward, 5 RCM. Now, under GTA, it is a reverse charge mechanism. Being a recipient, most of the cases, recipient is liable to pay tax, but option has been given to the transporter that they can also go for forward charge. Now, lots of issue happen. Now, forward charge they have given, but they never said that 12 will be forward, 5 will be RCM. But what happened? So, people, there were some transport industry who were even in forward charge was charging 5%. Now they clarify that whoever wants in GTA, they can opt under forward charge 12 or 5. The only thing they want us to intimate. They are asking you to give the declaration date. Last date was August, which already over. 26 August was the declaration date, whereby every transporter. It's not the case. You are in forward charge, so you don't need to give declaration. Declaration was need to be given by every transporter, whether they are opting for forward or RCM, and at what GST rate they are charging. They need to give that declaration submitted to the department. One. So they have basically cleared. It does not matter. Even a GTA can also charge 5% under forward. Second part in GTA, exemption. There was an exemption of 750 and 1500. 750 single, single consignment and 1500 single carriage. That has been removed. Now there is no exemption. Whatever be your transport amount, GTA transport amount, transportation, 100, 200, 300, on all, being a recipient, you are liable to pay under reverse charge if your transporter is not charging, except individual truck owner. Legal service, there is no change, but it's a more common service. Advocate service come into picture, where the people procure the service of an advocate, and in that case, RCM is applicable. Sponsorship service, there is no recent changes, nothing has come, but we highlighted as these are most particularly expenses which see while doing the audit. Service by central government and state government. This is very important. Most of the people does not pay tax on services which is received by the central government, state government. Government services, they are basically not keeping track of it. This may lead into litigation because as of now, when the department come after 5 years, your tax will be 18%, your interest will be 18%, then you add your penalty 100%. So making it to after 5 years, tax equal to interest equal to penalty becomes 300%. So we need to be careful, check your expenses properly to see any RCM liability is missed or not, because RCM major benefit is to pay the tax and claim the ITC in order to avoid the litigation. Then the director service. Director service, just check need to be done in which section you are deducting TDS under Income Tax Act. Is 92B or 94J? 92B, no GST. But if you are deducting under 94J, professional, RCM applicable, paid, claim ITC. Security service, if you are receiving from a non-corporate, non-body corporate, means individual HUF, and you are a body corporate, then only RCM applicable. Renting, similar situation, non-body to body corporate. Renting of immovable property. This is the one major change which has come now. Renting of immovable property, when we are talking about, we are only talking about residential immovable property, not commercial. So if residential immovable property has been let out to a registered business entity. So if renting of residential property is from unregistered to unregistered, no liability. But if it is an unregistered to register, it is covered under RCM, and the registered entity has to pay under RCM, and obviously it can claim ITC provided it is being used for business. So this is basically a cross check. As we are standing on September, you have a good opportunity to pay the tax and claim the ITC. So you can go through your PL, check what are the expenses there, analyze that expenses into first on which GST charge. On which GST charge, you just need to check whether you have claimed ITC on all. If you haven't claimed, whether it is under ineligible or whether it's not reflecting, do the follow-up with the your vendors in order to avail the ITC. Now, dividing into second part is on which no GST charge. Where no GST is charged, you need to be very much careful. You have to check this whether any of the expenses on which no GST has been charged is covered under RCM or not. If covered, pay the tax. You have to always have to raise self invoice in case of RCM transaction and payment voucher. Raise that invoice, raise that payment voucher, pay the tax and claim the ITC of it. Now, these are the common errors. These are basically the issues which the people face or people forget to take care of it under RCM. So we highlighted the few points. Availment of government service, like I said, people generally miss whether which are the government service on which they are liable to pay tax, like trade license. Now, if I go by trade license, it's very common. Most of the industries will be, most of the company entity will be having that trade license. Now, there are multiple exemption for government service also. One of the exemption is registration under the law for time being in force. Now, the thing is whether trade license can be made equivalent to registration or not is under litigation. But in our view, This license is equivalent to registration, so no GST should be levied on it, and we should be covered by way of exemption. Renting of immovable property, I already discussed about the residential dwelling. When it let out to the registered person, then only RCM applicable. GTA, I discussed 750 and 1500 exemption has been removed. Now, if any transportation charges, start paying under RCM. Import of service on online payment of Amazon. Now, as we are more onto virtual world, we make lots of online payments. So while procuring software also, we made a payment in Forex. So you need to be careful, whatever payment you are making in foreign currency, check that. For import of service, one of the important condition is that you have to check place of supply. If place of supply is in India, then only you are liable to pay under RCM. If place of supply is outside India, no RCM. Like for example, if I say that renting of immovable property. Now, immovable property is located in UK and company of India is paying rent for it. But for immovable property, place of supply is property where located. As place of supply is outside India, department cannot demand you to pay tax on it because it cannot be regarded as provided within the taxable territory. So import of service, you need to be very much careful. You have to study whether the place of supply is coming within India or not. If within India, then only taxable, otherwise not. Salary payment, I already discussed, director. Lawyer fee, what happened in advocate, many a time it's happened, they charge you for reimbursement, like notary and all that, small actual expenses. It's our advice, it will form with the part of value. So it's better you pay the tax on it and claim ITC on it. So you want to add something?
Let's take some questions. So the participants can unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Rishiji.
Sir, what is happening is that the fees paid to ROC for increase in share capital, we saw your reply. It's a litigative part, but conservatively you have to pay GST and claim ITC. Sir, but when you look at that, notification 11/2017, under which head we have to SSC code and the rate of percentage to be applied over here, sir?
Okay. So firstly, this is a services supplied by the government to you.
Correct.
Okay. Now, your question is very much valid. The Ashika has specifically said that it is better you pay it and take the ITC. Now, if you look at it, firstly, the irony is we have a classic section, 7 subsection 2, where they have also said that the services of the government will not be applicable.
Correct.
Nothing of that is notified yet. And more so, the services provided by the government, there is an exemption entry under 12, but these now and you also have the exemption, the reverse charge entry under 13. Hence, it is going to become a paradox that it is a legal fight which you have to go. So whether you will be taking that legal fight is a question which one has to be very clear. And in my view, it is a 9985, that's the HSN, and you will be paying GST under it.
Okay, done. I'm done with it, sir. I'm done with it. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I ask the question?
Yes, Mithilji.
Yes, sir, for advocate services, lawyer fees, see, suppose a person is qualified as a LLB and he is providing, let us say, GST filing, written filing services. He is not representing anywhere before any adjudicating authority or so. So in that, and he is unregistered. So in that case, whether I am liable to pay RCM under legal lawyer fees?
No. So if you again look at the notification 13, where what is under reverse charge is something which is provided as an advocate. So what is an advocacy services also has been defined. So it should be an individual advocate, okay, and he's providing the services of an advocacy. So if it is not a services of an advocate, it is not a legal service. In fact, the right word, if I have to say, is legal service. So the service is assistance or advice or consultancy. Now, filing of GST returns is not a consultancy or assistance in any branch of law. It has to be more so a representational services. Either it could be a court, tribunal, or an authority. So only then it would be treated as a legal services. Doesn't mean that any work done by advocate is under reverse charge. Let's say I'm an advocate, I have a property I've given under rent. Just because I'm an advocate doesn't make it as under a reverse charge. So it got to be a legal service. Plain answering your question, it will not be under reverse charge. The advocate has to do a forward charge.
Okay. Ma'am, during her session, she informed about credit note, which is, let us say, in 5A, A5. Let us say the invoice, the ITC is 5 lakhs rupees, credit note is 1 lakh rupees, and net ITC is 4 lakhs rupees. Okay, but the fact is that that 1 lakh rupee invoice which is appearing in 2B is not my invoice. So in that case, should I change the figure to 4 lakhs directly, or should I show 5 lakhs minus 1 lakh, net 4 lakhs?
5 minus 1, net 4 lakhs.
Because in that case, when I do my reconciliation or annual checking with my books, it will not match, right? The net figure will match, but the gross will not match.
I know. Yeah, so you have reversed it. So whatever is not matched is also you have reversed it. So that's how you have to carry your reconciliations.
Okay, so in short, we are doing a reconciliation of 2B to 3B.
Exactly.
And then in the back end, it will have 3B to books.
Correct. Perfect.
Okay.
All this while we were doing 3B versus 2B. Now it is the government wants 2B versus. Government says, jitne 2B mein hai, ab pehle le lo. Then you start doing whatever you want to do. So they want to simplify their work. So they have shifted the reconciliation work to the SSC.
Burden to the assessee. Yeah. And sir, regarding renting of immovable property, residential immovable property.
Yeah.
I have built up a machan, let us say a small row house, and I have given it to some aggregator. So in that case, can we say it is a renting of residential immovable property which will be used by the person in his business? Like otherwise they will, the customers will use it for hardly 1 day.
Okay, so what is the purpose of the renting? What is the tenant? What is he going to do with that?
Sir, it is a luxurious property. The tenants come, enjoy for 1 or 2 days, and they go away.
So it is kind of accommodation services being provided.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So here one has to be little careful. I will give you some paradoxes that are going to come up. Now, Nanjendra sir was asking, can you explain about renting of immovable property? So firstly, this is a new entry that has come under notification 13. Many people are not aware. What is generally happening, those who doesn't maintain books of accounts, साल में एक बार जो books maintain करते हैं, like you put 10,000 into 12 rent entry, 15,000 into 12 salary entry, is like enter करके चले जाते हैं. Now, because of this reverse charge, if you are booking something as an expenditure in your business, and you say it's a residential property, let's say C office, classic my office. I am staying in a rented premises and the owner is not paying any GST since it's a residential. I will have to pay it under reverse charge from today. Even more important, if you don't pay it, you realize this 5 years later, as Ashika said, 300% interest, tax, penalty, everything will pay, and you will not have an ITC. So start looking at your books of accounts. Now, as Mithul asked this question, as what will be the treatment of the rent? I have taken a property on rent and I am giving as an paying guest accommodation. Now the paying guest is kind of is it a residential renting or a commercial renting? The question that is being there. In fact, there are good judgments of Karnataka High Court too. And there is a service tax education guide, which will also say anything given for dwelling more than 3 months, it should be treated as a residential living. Hence, the residential livings will be falling under exempt. But you are taking a property on rent and the original owner is not registered, you will end up paying a reverse charge for your purchases. If your output is not taxable, you should continue to pay reverse charge and not claim any ITC owing to Rule 42. In Mithul's question, it is an accommodation services, it is liable to be forward charged. So you will be collecting from the customers and paying GST. And on your purchases, you will have to pay under reverse charge, but you can avail the ITC.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
My one question, sir. Venu sir.
Yes,
It's
sir.
about
Yes.
PG services. PG services. Now that comes under the residential, that will be in residential only, but that condition is there, so per day 1,000 or something. That is applicable and continuous.
Yeah, so please note those conditions have gone.
Okay.
Those exemptions have gone.
Okay.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Subramani sir.
Sir, one question, and this regarding this payment to the director. Okay, some directors they let out their property or office or anything to their own company and they take rent. So if you go for this RCM, no, they say okay, no, our total rent is less than 20 lakh rupees. So that is the one point. And the second point, some of the directors, some 3-4 directors, okay, they have let out their property to the company, wherein the company is going to build its own factory, and for that they charge a nominal rent. Okay, what is the impact of this RCM?
So going forward, company has to pay GST under reverse charge because director is not registered. If the director is registered, it is a renting out of a commercial activity, so director will be paying under forward charge. If the director is not registered, company will have to pay under reverse charge. However, company can avail input tax credit of it because it is for the business purpose. Company can avail input tax credit, but pay ITC under reverse charge. Is that clear, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So Hardik is asking import of services online Amazon. Hardik, you should be looking at again most of the today these portals are online subscribed and they have been paid using the credit card of directors or the CTO or someone, and the company does the reimbursement. The bill will be in the company name. These are not subjected to any GST. It would be under import of services. One has to pay under reverse charge. Please go through those. However, Amazon has a presence in India. If you are dealing with Amazon India would be charging a forward charge bill. So you got to look at whether it is a dollar charge, whether it is an INR charge. You got to go through in the books of accounts. Most of the times you would not be accounting the input tax credit since it would not be appearing in 2B. Unless you give the GST number and it is an online subscription, it will not be GST will not be captured. So one has to do a proper accounting and follow, because most of the junior accountants do not know this. The technical guys do not know about the GST. 18% GST is a bigger loss. You may say that, okay, it is becoming an expense. I'm getting 30% income tax benefit. It is still a 30%. You are still losing 70%. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Let's move to the next part of our discussion, which is the re-availing transition credit. Now, this is something which is new, which has started, everyone should be knowing. This is again a short life window. See, Trans 1, Tran 2, Tran 1 and Tran 2 was there from longer period. And Tran 2 was actually, many people didn't even know that something like Tran 2 exists. They haven't even filed any transition to return. They only filed Tran 1 thinking that is all they have to do. Now, the mistakes that came up, let's look at what are all the things. First and foremost, the transition returns was there to carry over your excise, service tax, or your state VAT loss credit to the GST regime. Originally, it was there for 90 days from the appointed date, that is 1st July, then later further 90 days enhanced. The later 90 days expired on 27th December, 28th. It's not there. Many people thought that generally the timeline will be 31st December. In fact, someone had written an article, please file your returns by 31st December, thinking that people 31st December, someone was waiting for it and they couldn't pay. So many taxpayers could not file, forgot, technical glitch, or they had a SENVAT credit, that registration was not mapped, whatever be the reason, something error happened. They could not file. Now, just to take a recap of what were the trans returns, what credits were there. Tran 1, Tran 2, Tran 3. So majorly it was Tran 1 and Tran 2. In Tran 1, on the appointed day, whatever the input tax credit which is lying either in the credit ledger or it in the stock, that was being carried forward. And in Tran 2, if my earlier credits which were there are not identifiable, because I could I have moved from excise and VAT to GST. I have purchased goods from a VAT dealer. I have taken ITC of only VAT. I did not take the credit of excise because I did not have an excise bill, nor I have an excise liability. But when I'm transiting these goods to GST, rate of GST is higher. While it was 5.5% under VAT, in GST it became 12%, stating you are eligible for input tax credit. So the government said, okay, base is looking at your rate of tax. If the rate of tax is more than 18%, then the 60% of the CGST amount they have embarked, saying that okay, this they would be attributing to your credits that are lying inside it. And if the rate of tax was less than 18%, they said up to 40% of the tax rate can be the transition credit. But a condition with an anti-profit means saying that you should pass on this as a discount to the customer in the invoice. There were various provisions, section 140. So 141 was on SENVAT and VAT input, 142 was capital goods, and 143, wherever the documents were there, they said 100%. And in the proviso, the documents were not there. When I say documents, it was duty paying documents. If the duty paying documents were not there, then they gave a deemed credits. So likewise, we had various sections, subsections under section 140 to adjust the transition, moving from different era to the GST era. So in the Tran 1, if you see the table 5A, this was given asking you to list your central excise service tax registration. Give me your registration number and till when you filed the returns, what is the quantum of the credit that you want to carry forward. So we were supposed to give this. And for like the excise, there was also VAT credit. So I will be giving the VAT credit. However, owing to C form, F form, and other forms, owing to C form, F form, let me mute other, yeah. Owing to C form, F form, and other forms, if I have some liability to be discharged, using C form, I have just paid 2%, but the other person never gave me C form. I will now be responsible to pay tax at say 14.5% VAT. So all those things have to be adjusted because I have not paid the taxes. After adjusting, if there is a balance, if at all there is a balance, you are eligible to carry forward those credits. And not just that, 140 subsection 2 also permitted you to take a credit of the capital goods. You know, some of the state laws have said that capital goods will get a credit only for the plant and machinery. And even that, you will not get 100%. you'll get 50% in year one, 50% in year two. So there were various conditions state-wise. So if you have some unavailed capital goods credit, even that could have been carried forward. So while table 6. Then the inputs that were held in the stock, and those, if you are only when you are selling, you will be claiming it. So they said going to send VAT, report under 7A and VAT 7C. So we had two separate tables, and the duty paying documents were there, which means the credit is immediately available. If the duty paying document is there, credit is immediately available and you don't need to file Tran 2. But if the duty paying document was not there, you are supposed to file Tran 2 and you have to report how much is the closing stock in which you are claiming the credit. So these were the, and there was one other table for if you have a centralized service tax registration and you are transiting into GST and breaking state-wise registration, you had a permission to split the opening credit to state-wise. So you take the credit to one state and split it into state-wise. So all these mechanisms were there. The Tran 2 was more important. It was a claim to be made for a period of 6 months. It was a claim to be paid for a period of 6 months. And you are supposed to disclose what was the opening stock, HSN wise, outward and the closing balance, which will become the next month. Only on the sales basis, this value and the rate of tax, some portion of the ITC was allowed. So whatever the stock which you had, if you have made a sale, since you did not get the credit of the excise and which you are now paying under GST, so they said the deemed credit was eligible. These are the various credits that were brought in. Now, what was the issue? Why is the need for revising the Tran return? If you notice, the closing balance which was there, for some, they have filed, but it did not get credited to electronic ledger. Now, you may ask how. I don't know how, but it happened. Or I have erroneously reported instead of 50,400, 10 missed out, it only became 504, right? So values error. Or I have reported some values in some tables I did not report. Like, and that is where I said the larger the data entry, the larger could be the error. Some have filed Tran 1, forgot to file Tran 2, thinking that I entered the value in Tran 1, it will automatically come. Or the value which is there in the semi-finished goods, I did not consider. I have only considered, it's like it was a half-baked knowledge, I only took some value. Errors could be any and many. Now what happened? Many people have approached the courts saying that, okay, I want to get this revised. And there were some technical glitches I could not do. Almost all the high courts have said that it has to be revised. An opportunity has to be given. What the department has done, they have created a grievance redressal committee. They have created a grievance redressal committee saying that you go to grievance redressal committee, only for them I will give. And what the grievance redressal committee used to say, show me the proof that you have attempted to file, portal did not open for you. Who has taken this position? Portal did not open, that's all is my problem, and I couldn't do it. Or I have entered, my service tax number was not mapped. I was unable to take that service tax balance and file. So I cannot really show you a proof that it did not happen. Now, when you failed to show a proof, they said nothing doing, credit not eligible. So many matters went to the higher forums. Now, in Philco Trade Center, the Supreme Court said, see whether someone has, because in the many high courts by then have also pronounced that take the credit in 3B. Looking at some high court judgments, many people have went ahead and said, Jo hoga dekha jayega, baad mein let's fight it, let's take the credit in 3B. So they have taken. But thankfully, in fact, in my personal view, CBSE shouldn't have done this with so many issues coming in. And this was just a new return. GSTR 3B, after 5 years, we are still discussing, understanding what is permanent, what is temporary, and they are changing it, and the new form is coming. Nothing is perfect. No one knows. And if 1.4 crore dealers are there, so many accountants needs to be educated. Have they been educated? Are we aware? Even the tax professionals, they are getting educated. So I think, in my view, the department has very aggressive in this, saying that I will not allow. It was not right in their point. Input tax credit was a vested right. It was my credit. I am doing the business and you changed the law. Assist me, handhold me, help me, nothing of that. And you're saying you didn't come in time and okay, take a walk. That was not a right view. So, and they agreed by all these issues. Supreme Court said, nothing doing, open your transition return by 1st September, open it and allow people to file the return for 2 months. After that, let your officers verify for 90 days. Then recently the CBIC went back and said, see, we cannot, we are working on it, we need some more time. And they said, we will allow it from 1st October. So based on this direction, the CBIC also issued circular 180 saying that the transition return will be open. It will be open for whom? Those who did not file also can file. Persons who wants to revise can file. And someone got filed, but it got rejected somewhere, it went, it can be filed. Some people cannot file. Who? It is successful and you have nothing to do. Don't do. It's not mandatory that you have to file a revised return now. Filing of a revised return is not mandatory. If your plan one is success and you don't want to revise it, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to do it. And if you have filed, erroneously you have taken something, you got an adjudication notice and you are filing the case, the matter is in the appeal. Then whenever the matter are in appeal, you are already fighting an adjudication order. So wait, get your credit done there. And they have also said that this is not open for correcting Form C, Form H, Form I, the VAT related forms of them. We are not here for correcting or re-data entry of it. It is only taking those credits. This is what they have said. And they have said that though the directions was from 1st September, they went to the Supreme Court, got an extension, sought an extension and said that, okay, give me time from 1st October till 30th November. And the government portal said that along with this, please file an Annexure A. It's a declaration. It's a self-declaration, which has, if you have already filed the form, you will be giving the details in part 4. If you are furnishing for the first time, you will skip your part 4 and jump table 4 and jump to table 5. It has given some instructions. Please follow it. And it is a self-certified, whether it is revised or original. Whether it is revised or original, it is self-certified. And the proper officer is going to verify within 90 days. Within 90 days. What all you can revise, Tran 1 and Tran 2. Very few cases of Tran 3. Some important points which I want you to make note of it. Firstly, as I said, in transition return, your table 5B and 5C, which are relating to your forms, that is not editable. Second, in for form Tran 2, okay, the entire claim. Earlier, the Tran 2 was supposed to be for 6 months. Each month, you are supposed to file, and the Tran 2 due date was till March of 18. Now the government said, all those 6 Tran 2, file it only once. Your last tax period where you made the sales, you report that, that is sufficient. After that, a self-certified copy in declaration Annexure A to be filed. And this revision, please be careful, this revision is only a one-time opportunity. You will not be given the revision again. Now, after a huge fight, after 5 years, this revision has happened. So take utmost care and precaution while filling and filing your transaction return. If need be, take the advice of your chartered accountant or the consultant and get it filed, because once you file it, it cannot be edited. They have given a button to submit. Till you press that submit button, you can modify, edit, delete, add, anything you can do. But once you do that, nothing can be done after that. So once you hit that submit button, the form gets frozen and you cannot do anything. And once you file it, you cannot revise it again. There is no further opportunity to file it or revise it again. It is not mandatory, it is optional. If you choose not to file, that's perfectly fine. You can choose not to continue not filing it. You've got to give a declaration. This would be verified by the concerned tax officer within a period of 90 days. By virtue of 168A, anyhow, they have deferred the time limit of 17-18 audits, so the officers also have sufficient time. They have also said, if you have already filed an appeal against the original order, it is now not appropriate course of action to revise this. This is somewhere I would want you to go ahead and test the waters, and you can file your revised returns and you can withdraw the thing. Most of the people would have a thought that, see, considering that plan revision will not happen, I have already claimed a credit in 3B or reversed the credit in 3B. Don't worry. The form annexure has asked this question. If you have claimed the credit, how much you have claimed this credit? Once you fill it, so the appropriate action would be taken by the portal. So these are the various points which one has to be governed of, mindful of when it comes to your revision of your transaction returns. Any questions to the participants before we move to the technical part of the session, which is on the Excel side? If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask, else we can go to the next. And transition return, I'm sure most of you would have forgot, but do a relook of what you have filed, what you are supposed to file, everything is correct or not, just make an attempt. All right. Okay. Now we have on the screen the next session speaker, Babu. Babu, welcome. And
Thank you, sir.
Babu is going to take us through the Excel. Friends, we as finance professionals, we use Excel day in and day out. And without Excel, it's like we really can't think of how do we either do the working or reporting. Whether you are a data entry operator or you are the CFO, it's like you cannot imagine a day without an Excel. And I have been always biggest advisor of technology and also making sure that you upgrade your skills. Every session, every month, we take up along with the GST session, a 45-minute session on the Excel skills. And I never believe in an information overload. So we only take up few Excel tips and formulae. And if you practice that, that becomes, at least saves a life. Please note, computers are slaves of us. They are meant for easing our life. Today, most of us have ended up in doing some mundane work, which computers can do beautifully. We are doing that work. Humans are meant for using intellectual training, right? Systems have to do the reports and we have to do analysis of it. In today's session, we are going to tell you Power Query. At least from last 7-8 months, we've been taking various topics on the Power Query. Those of you who have attended the session first time of today, you can watch the earlier sessions of the Power Query. If you say, I know HLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, if, sum ifs, or I can write macros, I will say that is history. 5 years back, if you have said that, I will say, yes, okay, you are good in Excel. But today, if you are saying it, then you are a normal user is expected. You are not a power user just because you know pivots. A power user can use power queries. And this we call it as M language. So today we are going to see one of the tool where if you have the data, say month-wise data, could be a sales data, could be a payroll data. I have the data. I want automatically to be incremental. I want it to be incremented automatically. How do I do it? Again, session is recorded. It would be shared for you for your viewing at a later point in time. Request you to go through it. If you are using older version of an Excel, Microsoft Excel, then you will not be able to use all the things. You should upgrade the Excel. If you are using any of the versions which are less than 2013, you will not be able to use it. Do not use pirated versions. So in these situations, you will be able to handle it. Babu has already shared a link of the files. In fact, those files are also available on the, I am putting the files on the chat also. You can try these files as Babu is working it. You can just try exploring using those files. Yeah. Babu, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, today taxation is, as Venu sir mentioned, the first part is Power Query automations. It is a very powerful tool. The second one is interactive dashboards using the same data. Then top 5 useful formulas. These 3 are today topic. Then first the Power Query. Maybe we need to know the Power Query is available or not in our system, in our Excel application. In 2016 and above, 2016 or Office 365 users, you will get maybe home insert, page layout, similar way data tab. In the data tab, the group get and transform data. From here, you will get the get data. From get data, I'll show you the other commands. If you are below 2016 version, you will get there are free add-ons in market, and if you go on see in Windows website also, there you will able to download that free add-ons. You will, if you install that Power Query add-on, then you will get the tab and ribbon like this. From here you can able to access all the data, and you will able to work using Power Query module. If you are using Power BI, same way you will get the ribbon, and you will automatically, that is in it, there is no need to install any add-ons. You will get this kind of tab. Then if you, I'll share you this link. If you want to download that rare older versions Power Query for older versions, you can download using this link and install it for your older versions. Okay, now directly I'm going to show you the practical session how Power Query will work. The first part, if you see, maybe if you know basics in Excel, if you are using data analytics, or if you are working on more data, day-to-day daily sales related reports, or inventory related reports, some other reports, payroll data, or any data, if you are working on Excel, sometimes someone will use Access files. If you are getting 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs data, for if you have, suppose if you want to do your reconciliation, if you get 20 states, 30 states data to year data, if you want to consolidate, maybe it won't support if it is exceeding 10 lakhs rows. That time, most of the people go with some other SQL servers. They are posting to the SQL, then they are executing some queries. They are extracting the requirement data, summary data, then using some another in-house applications or access the free application. But it will replace all the applications with Excel application. We can use Excel applications. You can use up to millions of data using Power Query. Power Query, the first part you need to understand Excel application. Why I'm telling, maybe most of the people, Excel is very simple application. Yeah, it is a simple application, and also there is a limitation. But if you use technically, you can use up to whatever you have data. You can reach up to Power BI. You can reach up to SQL server. You can reach up to bigger any server. You can reach up to Access also. How? Using Power Query. Power Query, there is no limit. you can add more data in Power Query. The Excel engine will store separately whatever you import data through Power Query. By default, Power Query, by default Excel, if you record any data in Excel, it will save in XML format in the same engine. But if you use Power Query module, then the complete data will save in separate data. Maybe most of, I know, everyone know Tally application and Tally data. Tally data is separate, Excel application is different. Tally application is different. Using Tally application properties, we are able to read Tally data. Then we are able to see the complete data. We can able to create data and we can store the data into that particular folder. Similar way, if you use Power Query, also act like this only. That's why you can use unlimited data, but you need to apply some techniques. Then only you can able to work properly. There is no issue in performance also. You can use properly. Yeah. Okay, I will show you the best tricks and useful ways for your day-to-day activities for preparing dashboards, analyzing data, and combining data. Most of the time, if you see SAP, Oracle, some other applications, if you want to generate data, if there is a huge data, you are going to generate week-wise data or month-wise data or year-wise data. Then you need to comment that data. If you comment again, you need some other applications to consolidate and summarize the data. But the similar way, if you have some limitation of data with month-wise or year-wise, you want to consolidate. See, here I'm having sales data 2017, 18, 19, 20. I'll show you this data. Maybe see, and also if you see, if you have 2-year data, the first 2-3 lines will come that government, that logos, some other things. After 2-3 lines will come empty. After that, titles. Below that, some other titles. After some rows gap. After that, some GST number and values, then subtotals. This way will come. Suppose if you want to combine 30-40 GST data, you can use Power Query. Similar way, here also you see order number is in order number, customer sales in first row. In second row, ID it is committed. This is already splitted. If you extract from some in-house applications, there are some limitations. They will give this way only. Again, you need to do some formatting. But every time, if you want to download the data, if you want to format it, it is very critical job, time consuming job. But using Power Query, one time if you set up these steps, that will record whenever you get the data. If you paste in that folder, if you refresh that output data, it will give output data like VBA. Just I'm completely telling overview only, then I'll show you practically. Suppose you know, if you know VBA also, it is a steps. First I need to do the first row and second row merging. Then second one I need to apply borders. The third one I need to change that values to comma decimals. Then the L column I need to split that values. If you know macros, you need to write that step-by-step condition. Based on that one, it will execute. Similar way, one time if you set up in Power Query, it will record, it will save whenever the data is there. If you press, it will execute and it will give you with all the updated data. No need to write any VBA. You can replace with VBA up to some levels in Power Query. Yeah. Okay. This is the data. I'll show you one more file also. If it is similar data, it is easier. Otherwise, if you are getting multiple ways of data, that means rows, columns, and subtotal something, then you need to understand that existing structure, comparing 2 to 3 months, how it is coming. Based on that, you need to apply some filters in Power Query level that I'll show you. See, in 2018, 2017, titles are same, columns are same. Then no worry. We'll see how we can apply and how beautifully we can get this data consolidated data. Practice file.
So this is an empty file. Now we are getting.
You can open.
We are getting all the data into this.
Yes. As I shown in PPT, my version is below 2016 version. I may get, maybe if you are 2016 and above, from data tab, you will get in left side, get data. There you will get the sub commands. Everything it will come under data tab only. If you have any doubt, you can ping me through chat. I'll guide you if required. See here in data tab, get data and get external data group, new query in my system. The command name is new query from file from folder. See, it is asking folder path. Here I have 4 years data. I want to consolidate this data. Combine and consolidate, and I need to summarize the data. Okay, I given that path. Okay, if you want to know how to copy this data.
Babu, I would suggest you remove one file. Later we copy one file and automatically then incremental data refresh also we can show.
Yeah, I have that data also, sir. I given 22 data.
Okay, fine. Good. One data is outside, right? Okay, good.
See, if you want to copy this path, just select here, then you can right click and copy it. You just select this path and copy. There are many ways to copy this one, or you can press Alt D, it will select and Control C. That is up to you. I given 2 methods to copy this path. Just paste it here, then click OK. If you want to work on larger data, that time you need to have at least minimum RAM and processor in your system. Otherwise, it won't work. If it is a Power Query and any application, that is also an important point. See, here it is loading all the list of files, 2017, 18, 19, 20. Then in bottom, if you are able to see combine, load, edit, there are some options. Here I need to combine this data, combine all the files, then I need to edit. Maybe in 2016 above versions, instead of edit, it will show transform data. Combine and edit. So it is showing example files. There are 4 files. First file I am taking as a sample. The sheet name is sales. Then I'm clicking OK. This will help you more and more if you are working on larger data. See, it's downloaded, it's combined and downloaded to Power Query module. This separate module. If you see this Excel in bottom, you are able to see, right?
Yeah.
In left side, it is showing practice file .xlsx. In right side, it is showing data query editor. This is separate application. It's an inbuilt Excel application only, but it is a separate module. See, here I am taking sample because the data is final file. Just I am selecting transform sample file from data. Maybe in your 2016 above, it will show transform samples only. Just we'll apply all our formulas and conditions, formatting all the required formats here. Then we'll transform to data because data is final one. This is like working file. Okay, here you can able to see all the data, all the fields. We'll see what are all required things. Here is already taken order as a header. I need to merge this to order and ID, order ID. Then I need to remove promoted headers. See, now it is showing column 1, 2, 3, 4. That is okay. Then, sorry, yeah.
So, friends, on the right side, what you are seeing, whatever I am doing as an action, the right side it captures as the steps. So anytime you can go back, edit, change it.
Yes. Now I want to merge order and order ID. For this, will use transpose formula to transpose rows to columns, the data. Then we'll select this 2. This is very beautiful module. Maybe based on our requirement, we need to apply that conditions and commands. Then it will work very properly. I just selected this 2. Here it is showing command merge columns, or you can right click. See, in right click also it is there, merge columns. I need to merge the two with space. See, now it is order ID, customer ID, salesperson, order date, it is coming like this. Then again we'll transpose this. See, order ID. Then we'll use the first row as a headers. In transform tab, there is a command, use first row as headers. See, this is first our data formatting activity. The second one, there is a salesperson. If I want to apply some graphs, dashboards, that time if I want to display lengthy names, it is little maybe it won't show correctly. We'll use short names, which will for creating short name like Venkat, Meera, just select this one. Otherwise, you can use, what is it? Add column. From add column from samples, select from selection. Maybe if you know flash fill, it is also working like flash fill. If you see Venkat, if I enter Venkat and enter, it will take automatically all the similar contents.
By the way, you can actually try this on the Excel file, and you just enter one name, and below it you just press Control E. System will automatically do this.
Yes. Just will change this header as a salesman.
Can you see on the right side automatically it said rename the column? Maybe you can also drop that column, Babu, so we don't need it.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Yeah, the salesperson column can be dropped.
Yeah, maybe we'll remove this salesperson, the full name. This is not required. Okay.
Yeah, just hold there, Babu. Now,
yeah.
Friends, if you can see on the screen, you see customer ID, salesman, and the order. But on the right side, if I select the two lines above, Babu, can you click on rename the columns?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, now if you see, you have the salesperson, which means Excel is remembering all the steps that have happened, and it is giving you the final results. So this is the way this M language works. It is like
yes.
an advanced version of your macros.
Yes. See, now we got salesman short name. Then suppose if you want to see difference between order date to shipping date. Here also an interesting point is there. See, I want to, there is a command. I selected order date and shipping date. See, again, I'm telling you, first I selected pressing control button, order date. Second one, I'm pressing again control button, shipping date. See, subtract days from add column, it is giving minus. System is understanding the columns first, what I am selecting, second, what I am selecting. Now see, first I am selecting shipping date, second I am selecting order date. Then I am subtracting.
No, two columns not selected. You have to select the order date.
Yes. First I selected shipping, second one order date. Subtract.
Now you'll see plus number.
See, the system is understanding each mouse activity also.
You can actually remove the inserted date subtraction there itself, Babu. On the right side. Instead of removing this column.
I'm not removing, just moving to here. Yeah. To see the difference.
So this is, you can say, is delivery date, delivery time.
Then what we can do, some other automations. There is one more field, shipping mode and container. Both are coming in single column. For our analysis purpose, if I want to see, suppose that container wise or shipping mode wise, some analysis, I want to split this one. For splitting, see, from transform data, almost all you will get all the formatting commands from transform only. by delimiter. There are very good features, but now we don't have time to explain. These are all features. I'm directly selecting custom function.
Hyphen.
I'm giving space, hyphen space, because it will fit without any space. Now we got shipping mode. Now we got containers. Clear? If you want any other formatting also, we can do format here only. So I hope everything is clear. We formatted. Then we'll transform this data to Excel. We can do complete data to Excel sheet, or we can store somewhere and we can use through pivot options. There are two options. Anyhow, the first option only I'm going to use that one. Now see, if I click data, it is showing some expression error because the first one it is taking some of the standard fields. Now we changed many things. If I remove this one, it will take that sample what we have applied in sample file, that everything it will take automatically. Here it is showing again source name. Maybe this also will help us for our analysis. We'll do some formatting here also to extract that year. Okay. Here also we'll use that flash fill option. See. Just check it whether everything is coming properly. And oh, 2021 is not coming properly. So okay, fine, no issue. Otherwise, we need to apply one more condition.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Just explain the concept.
See, then close and load to. Just sorry.
Now
Download
let's
sample and
consolidated file.
yeah, 1 minute. It's downloaded sample and data both. It's not required. We'll download only data. Load to. Now it will download only data file only. 8399 rows. Up to here, any doubts? You can ping me through chat. I'll clarify.
We can continue, bro.
Yeah. See, now we downloaded, we combined four years of data and we formatted, we applied some formatting, then we downloaded to Excel. We'll see if I add 22 file, it will come or not. It will come with formatting or how it will come.
Open 22 file once. So it.
Sorry, sir.
Open 22 file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So if you see here, the line number 1 is order, line number 2 is order ID. Two different lines are there. Then we don't have the salesman name. It is only salesperson. Mrs. Gunny is there. So in our way, what we have done is we only expected the first one. So it means it has to take this data, delete it, transform, and put it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the fun part of it. This is the best thing.
Yes.
Of this.
This one-time activity, if you fix that steps, then automatically it will understand, it will do for incremental data files also. Just your job is to refresh this data.
So look at 8,400. Now
Done.
you can see data below it.
Done. It's updated up to 10,500.
This works like a magic.
Yes. Up to here, any doubts? Then we'll go for interactive dashboards, how to create using this data. Just I'll give you 1 minute. If you have any doubts, you can ping me through chat.
We'll take questions at the end.
Yeah, fine. Okay. This one more beautiful option. If you have data table in your workbook, data tables. Suppose if you have some data, raw data, for example, you are preparing financials or some other daily MSS, monthly MSS. If you have common data without data table, you need to apply formulas to columns or up to data end. That time, the data, the formula refreshing time will take more time if you have larger data. But if you have data tables, the file size will increase, but the performance will give more and more comparatively the formula applying. See, I'll show you here, for example. Okay, I'll go and show you here only. Here my shipment amount is there. Suppose if I want to total, see, it's very simple. Sum. Before that one, you need to understand this. You need to know this table name. If you have multiple tables, then you can able to see from here. The table name is data. Using the data name, I'll show you how to get the sum value. Sum. The first argument is number 1. Here, you just type data. It will show the data symbol also here. The below one is formula fx. Then it is showing table. Just take this one, then open square bracket. See, once you open square bracket, it will show all the data fields, data tables. Here I want to take shipment amount. See, you are able to get this data. It will refresh very quickly. If you apply the complete formula directly on the data table, I'll show you the difference. Suppose if you want to get this data, if you apply this way, it will store all the selected rows, 10 lakhs rows in from backend. It will check in all the 10 lakh rows. But if it's data table, it will go and check step to step quickly and it will give you the output result. That is the difference between this formula and this formula. Okay. Now we'll see how to create interactive dashboards. Maybe give me a minute. Sorry. Yeah. Creating our interactive dashboards using this data, I'll show you the sample things. Maybe you can easily understand. Just apply. Otherwise, pivot table. See, it's automatically taking data name. First, we'll go with salesman wise sales. Including year wise. Maybe instead of this way, if we can put bar chart, it will be more interactive. For changing, go to design tab and change it to bar. These are all one-time activity only. If you apply clear conditions and formatting, then every time you need to store your raw data, automatically it will refresh. I don't want this field to display here. Hide value field. This one also. Hide this field. Then I don't want to show grid lines. I want to show data table. Sorry, data values. See, for this one we'll apply. For changing this comma decimals, just select this pivot table value field and right click and go to value fields and number format. Click OK. Use this comma separator. Okay, now it looks good. See, this is showing year wise, salesman wise sales, but just will increase this gap. If you double click on these lines, it will open automatically this pan, then you can change. Yes, this looks good. Suppose if you want to add year or your containers as a filter, you can add slicers. For slicer formatting also we can do slicer settings. I don't want the display headings. Into 2 columns. You can add some titles or your company logo. Is up to you. This beautifications. You remove this grid lines from view tab, then it looks good. Instead of 2 columns, we'll put 8 columns. Two columns is fine. We put as a one
So the
only.
alignment you can do the way you
Yes,
want.
yes, yes, up to you.
Basically the objective is now you can see this is the interactive. I'm not sure how many started using slicers. Slicers is very important.
Yes.
So basically, can you just select large box now? So only data relating to large box is there. So for management users, it is always important that they have been given information where they can actually select the data and it is
Yes.
automatically giving the results.
Yes. Then we'll add some other analytics also.
Babu, go back to the slicer. We can just need to show them on the date range. You have the order date. You can add a slicer on the date, please.
Yes, yes.
Go back there and in the no, you can select there itself and add the slicer. Yeah, not already, no order date. Pick the order date. No, I think data is not set as date.
Sorry, sir.
Data is not set as a date. That is why if you have set as a date, you also get a date bar.
Correct. Yeah. Understood.
You select that as timeline. Delete this and delete this. Right side, yeah. Select the timeline. Yeah, already perfect. So this is also a very important slicer. You can actually see users
Yes.
can play with the data. Now, if I want to see the sales between August to October, and somewhere it jumped.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So you can just select August. Yeah, you can on the left side, right side, you can expand. You can increase the August. You can increase to 2 periods, please. August, September. Yeah. So this way I can change. So right now your slicer is working two-way. So you can change the dates, you can change the filters. So this has become like a real dashboard and interactive. Whenever you are presenting financials for multiple quarters or multiple months and the multiple companies, a consolidated financials, you can have the slicers as your data.
Yes.
That's okay. Now they got it, Babu. You don't need to. You go back to the. You can just add add one here. Yeah. So what Babu is doing is he is creating different dashboards and getting the. Now I change any value on the top, automatically all these graphs will get changed.
Yes.
So that people will always talk about creating dashboards, interactive dashboards. This is interactive dashboard. You have the data, the huge data. Now you can see everything. Data is dynamically changing and all the information is coming from one single source. That is how
just
the dashboard gets prepared.
Yes, your job is to just collecting that raw data and pasting and refreshing. That's it. Then everything will refresh automatically.
So do for one file, load all the data into it. Data gets automatically refreshed. Your dashboard gets refreshed.
Yes.
It might be like though we did it here in 15-20 minutes. First time when you are doing it will take half an hour, but later you will find the benefits from it.
Yes. Yes.
Any doubts to the participants?
Yeah, that's it. So
we have completed Power Query, merging files, and interactive dashboards.
Yes.
Babu, the next one?
The next one is the most useful formulas for regular activities. The sum if s, count if s. These four formulas, and if s. Now, if you see in office relationship, there is a if s. These are all formulas are very most useful formulas. You just practice it. Already I shown you. using this data tab anywhere you can apply. These 5 formulas are very, very important formulas. I'll show you quickly. I'll explain you the basic things about that formulas. See, now I got using some formula the value total altogether for all the years sales, but I want to see 2017 data only. For that, we can use some if formula. I'll show you some if and some if else. What is the difference? See, there is only one criteria. That's why I'm using sum if. In sum if formula, range, criteria, sum range, 3 arguments are there. The first one, I want to see the range from data tab year. The criteria is U1. That means you can able to see in above. The sum range again data shipping amount. So it is very easy if you have data tables. Instead of creating name also you can use this data table names. See, for 2017, this is the value 28,3,430. If I change it to 2018, it will change the value. Suppose if I want to see container wise also, year and container. Again, I need one more condition here to filter another, but in if condition we don't have directly that additional range and criteria to add here. For this one, so let it be, I'll add here. For this we need to use sum if s formula. In sum if s we have 255 arguments. See, same here also from data table. First, the argument is asking sum range from shipment amount. Then criteria range. First criteria is year. From data, year, the year is in U1. The second criteria, container. Container also data tab, container. Then U2. So this is the value for 2018 container large box 2761 value. If you want to see here, I'll apply and show you 2018 large box. See, you can able to see always everyone will see here only to check the values in bottom in progress bar 2760.9. Same value only. This is the difference between sum if and sum if s. This is most useful formulas for data analytics also. Same will apply. This is sum. We'll see. Sorry. Then suppose sometimes your management will ask count also. Count of orders. For same only. It is like here sum if, there also count if. Similar data open, you can take any columns. It should not be with any empty cells. You need to check that one also before taking the columns. I'll take order ID, this range, No, I want container wise, right? I don't want to take this one. For this year, I want to see count of orders. Okay, then again I need to take all data year. For year 2018. See, for 2018, there are 2142 orders. Then we'll see for 2018 and large box. For that one, we can use count if S. Here we have multiple criteria. Same data, bracket, year, 2018. The second criteria container or container this one. Okay, 91 orders are there for 2018 large container, large box. Okay, this is how count if S and sum if S will work. Any doubts on these formulas? Then the final formula is if. Maybe if is very useful formula. It's a logical formula. Just I show you here one condition. If formula is having three arguments: logical test and true condition and false condition. If the logical condition if true, then what is the result? Then if it is a false, then what is the result? That's why they have given three arguments. See here, I'll take this one container. If container equal to jumbo drum, then they are shipping from Mumbai. Just I'm giving one condition. Else, if it is not jumbo, then they will ship from Chennai. See, this way if condition will work. If you want to nested ifs, you can add multiple conditions also. Yeah. This is clear. Any doubts you can ping me chat. The session is over. We will share you this all the practice files also.
So the file right now which Babu has worked, that would be shared to you, and the recording would also be shared with you. For some of you, it might be sounding like, okay, too much of program, too much of formula, too much is confusion. It appears. Till you learn, it appears like a complicated. After you learn, it's like a child's play. But make an attempt to learn. Simple. Just to sum up, we have consolidated 5 files, actually 4 files, 5th file got consolidated automatically. So we have seen a power query of how to get the data from the files. After it is loaded, we have created a simple pivot, and from the pivots, we have moved all the reports of the pivot to a single sheet and created like a dashboard. And the dashboard had the timelines, slicers to it, little formatted, where for the management perspective, they only need to be in that sheet. They just need to select the respective years and they get it. And lastly, we have seen the count ifs and an if formula, how to use it. So these are the various points that we wanted to give you as a training for today. If any one of you have understood or did not understand, have any questions to discuss, please share. We are here for some more time. Little silence. So you are taking some time to understand. Absolutely no worries.
Yeah, one thing, maybe if you are using larger data, don't worry, you use Power Query, it will give you very good performance instead of using direct Excel. Just if you don't know, just you search in Google or YouTube, there are many samples and they will give with clear pictures how to use if condition in Power Query, how to use max function in Power Query, or if you want to add multiple columns, rows, merging, everything, whatever you get in mind, just apply in YouTube or Google, they will give you clear examples. Otherwise, there is one more good option. There is a Windows blog. You go to that blog and search your doubts. There are many links. You will get clear screenshots in that blog also. Based on that, you can practice and you can use. It is one-time job. For example, if you are creating sales dashboard, it's one-time job. You just search in Google or YouTube somewhere. You create this one time. Then it will save your time to do every day the exercise of doing formatting, collecting data and applying the formatting and consolidating, then posting it to somewhere. This will completely reduce your time. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Babu. Thank you for taking time out in explaining these concepts. And I should thank Jagadeesh and Ashika for actually putting that whole presentation and taking all of us for the various topics on GST. And finally, a big thank you to the participants for taking your time out and fully being there, attentive and participating, asking the questions and the doubts. With this, we have come to end of the session. If you have any more questions, you can ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity to present technical session. Yeah.
Yeah, participants actually can unmute yourself. If you have anything you want to ask, you can unmute and ask. Okay, so there are no further questions. I think we can wind up for the day. You will all get the presentation material, Excel, the PPT, and the link of today's presentation or email to you. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye. Good day.
Because it's a